Hop in and buckle up, everybody. It's time for another Drive Time review. Today, I am going to be smoking the H. Upmann by AJ Fernandez Sunrise. This is the newest H. Upmann cigar in collaboration with AJ Fernandez, and it features an Ecuadorian Connecticut seed wrapper over a blend of Nicaraguan tobaccos. Comes in a couple different vitolas, but I have the 6x54 Toro. And I'm going to give this guy a cut and light and hit the road. So, my first cigar of the day. I've heard conflicting things about this cigar and about its strength level, and so I wanted to, start off with it just in case it is. As I've heard, it's very light, and so I wanted to start off with it in case that is the case, because last thing in the world you want to, for me anyway, the last thing in the world I want to do is start off with a heavier cigar and go lighter from there. By the way, I do this after I cut. I just a little tap on the hand, clear the stuff off that. I learned that from Greg Fried of Fortaleza y Libre cigars. He taught me that way back when he was on the show, and everything. We need to get him back on. He's a fun dude. So anyway, cold draw, and there's that slight bit of kind of nuttiness that goes along with Connecticut. I'll be curious how this goes. I'm not much of a Connecticut smoker. Oftentimes, I either find it to be too light, or it just kind of tends to run a little bitter for my taste. So we'll see how this goes. But anyway, we're going to give this guy a light. I do need to crack the window, but it is raining, so I'm waiting until I'm like moving to do that. And of course, it decided to just start downpouring on me, making it that much more fun to drive with the window down. So, all right. Well, we will back it on up out of here, get on the road, and give this guy a little bit of a smoke. So, right off the bat, there is the familiar, it's getting smoky in here. There's the familiar AJ Fernandez peppery tingle to the retro hail. So anybody telling me that this is a very light cigar, I don't know what the hell you're smoking on the regular that this is considered light, but hey, good for you. It's got a little bit of something to it so far, right off the bat. Yeah, I'm gonna be curious, because this could be what I would consider a Connecticut that knows somebody. We'll see. I'm curious to see if that's how this ends up being. I would expect that from AJ. So truthfully, if AJ were to give me something that was like really light and creamy with more flavor and less strength, that would actually be more surprising than if he were to give me something that was kind of a pepper bomb. But we will see. Oh boy. What a truly nasty day for a drive. Some pretty rough thunderstorms in the area. So hopefully this review doesn't get cut short by a tornado. So that'd be exciting for you, wouldn't it? Watching the Drive Time review just for Nick to get taken to Oz. That would get me some views, I would think. Although YouTube would probably hide that behind they'd throttle that one back behind the algorithm too, because even though I got taken to Oz, it would be promoting the use of tobacco, and heaven forbid we do that. So anyway, it's smoking very nicely. It has a great draw. My burn line's slightly off, but that's because of the way I lit it. I mean, it's smoking well right off the foot. So we'll see. We'll give it a little bit of time. We'll come back and update you. Alrighty, guys. So you know me. I like to show you the ash before I drop that in the ashtray. Nice, solid, good, well-formed, light gray ash on this cigar. A few little cracks there to the ash. Enough that like I said, it's making me nervous in the car. I do not like to make a mess in the car if I can avoid it. But if I were at home, I would probably let this go a little bit longer before I were to ash it. But since I'm in the car, we're gonna go ahead and ash it off now and clear that so that we make sure we don't make a mess. Flavor note on the smoking experience. There is a creamy kind of nutty component like you would expect from a Connecticut wrapper cigar, but there is that underlying subtle Nicaraguan pepper to it. If this is one that I will say for an AJ cigar, it is rather pepper light. So maybe in AJ's world, this is a wake up with a cup of coffee cigar. I think it could be good with a cup of coffee, to be honest. And to be honest, as somebody who likes more medium-bodied cigars, this would be a nice wake up cigar for me. It's nice and has a little bit of something to it. I don't feel like I'm smoking air, which is good. I could see where a normal Connecticut smoker, now granted, I'm fairly early into it. We have plenty of cigar left to go. But I could see where a regular Connecticut smoker, if they were to fire this thing up, they might be like, "Oh, where's this coming from?" It is different in that regard. I have a comparison in mind, but I'm going to hold off on it just for a little while. I'm going to smoke this a little while longer before I make that comparison or dispel it, because I don't want to make the comparison too early and then end up changing my mind later. So I'm going to continue smoking. I'll be back with you after I'm finished with the first third, kind of heading into the second third. Alrighty, guys. So we are about to the end of the first third here, and full disclosure, I got a phone call. During the phone call, my cigar went out, so I did have to relight it. So that is kind of a thing. I hate doing that, but it's just one of those things that I wanted to stop smoking so I could continue the review, and so it's one of those things. Now, the peppery spice on the smoking experience has calmed down. It is a much more, just in general, creamy, kind of light smoke at this point as we're getting ready to transition to the second third. So it kind of starts off with a bit of strength and then pulls back over the course of the first third. So now I'm understanding the whole sunrise, the start of the day cigar thing. Because I was like, man, if this stays like this the whole way through, it's a little much for a start of the day cigar. I would like it, but I can see how other people might have a problem with it. But it does calm down. Slight bit of pepper to the retrohale. Even the retrohale has calmed down as we move forward into the second third here. So I will come back to you guys when I'm at the halfway point and discuss kind of what I'm getting at that point. All right, guys, so I'm at about the halfway point of the H. Upmann AJ Fernandez Sunrise, and it's good. I mean, the draw on it's been good. Even with the relight, the flavor on it has been very nice. The burn line is ever so slightly off. Again, I think that was due to the way I lit it in the beginning. And also, I rolled this window up and I cracked the passenger window to maybe help with both the wind noise and then also, even that out a little bit maybe. But no, I'm digging it. The cigar itself is smoking really well. Flavor wise, it's still kind of in that kind of mild state that I said that that it transitioned to in the second third. I'll be curious if in the back half of the second third, maybe we start to ramp up again to where the final third has a little bit more oomph to it. Because it would be very odd, in my opinion, for the cigar to start off with the pepper that it started off with to then pair back to a more mild smoke and never regain it. I would think that it's going to maybe pull back, be a little more mild in the middle, and then come back and ramp back up in the back half or back third. We'll see. Again, I'm not sure, but I like it so far. I could see this being a nice morning smoke. I'm not the biggest fan of some of the offerings by the H. Upmann. Like for no disrespect to the fine folks that work at Altadis and the makers of the cigar, but the Banker, for example, is not particularly my. Well, it's not so much the Banker. It was the Day Trader. That's the one I really just. There's something about that cigar. It's got a flavor note that I just can't put my finger on, but I'm really not a fan of. But this one is hitting very well. I have an iced tea with me. I think a nice latte would go really well with this cigar. So no, I would totally be down for this as a first cigar of the day. It's a nice offering, and it's something a little different, something a little unique from AJ. It's not your typical, AJ Spice Bomb. So I appreciate that as well. It shows a little restraint. Again, there's a comparison that I have in mind. I don't know. I think it was more apt in the first third. I'll see how the final third goes to see if maybe they're trying to do it again. But I'm holding off. I'm holding off on mentioning it until the end. So I will come back to you when I am transitioning from the second third into the final third, and we'll kind of see where we go from there. All right, guys. So I am solidly in the final third here, and the H. Upmann AJ Fernandez Sunrise, it did what I thought it would do. So when you start transitioning from the second third to the final third, the pepper and the spice ramps back up, and it's different than in the beginning. So in the beginning, you kind of encounter it; it's there, but the palate cleanses relatively quickly. In the back third, the final third here, the pepper really hangs on. Like it's really clinging to the palate and is lingering quite a bit. You get those tingles all on the tongue and in the mouth from it. So the spice level in the back third really does pick up. I'm going to be completely honest. There is a flavor note. I'm having trouble identifying what it is. It's not quite hitting my palate in the best way. I will flat out say the first 2/3 of this cigar are much better than the final third. The final third is not hitting the way I would have liked for it to. But Admittedly, that is a problem I encounter with Connecticut's on the regular. Maybe it's a Connecticut bitterness situation because, I do find the Connecticut wrappers can be on the bitter side sometimes. But there's just something in this final third, and it might be the spice or whatever it is. It's lingering, and I'm not 100%. I'm not digging it. It's not like bad, but it's gonna play into the score a little bit. So since the beginning, I have had a comparison in mind with this cigar, and I've kind of been like thinking it through. And I really feel like this might be the Sunrise, might be AJ's attempt at making something to compete with the Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne. It presents very similarly in the first third. You have that strong kind of Nicaraguan binder and filler, along with that kind of creamy Connecticut wrapper. The spice in the first third, with that creaminess and that nuttiness, definitely presents similarly, in my opinion, to the champagne. When you get into the second third and the Sunrise starts to kind of back off a little, that's where I feel like that comparison kind of doesn't really play out. Now that I'm getting into the final third of this cigar and you're getting that strength level again, you're getting that spice and everything else, I would say that we're getting back into champagne comparison territory. The difference being, I think the champagne it's a tried and true blend. It sells like crazy, and I think it's a little more refined. Like I said, there's something about this blend in the final third that has this component that I just am not feeling. I don't know what it is, and it's making it to where it's not something I'm gonna like. I'm not throwing it away by any means, but it doesn't have that same level of refinement that the champagne does. All in all, it's not a bad smoke. It could also be just the Connecticut. I could be picking up something from that to where that's what's making me kind of like about it at the end. Strength wise, let's give it a strength score. Strength wise, I'm gonna give this, even though the middle ramps down, it's deceptive in that, like I said, the first third and the final third, especially the final third is way stronger than the first third. I'm gonna give it, what do I want to give this? I'm gonna give it a 6. It's not quite at the 7. And the middle is what really pulls it down. But the strength level is definitely a 6. Damn it, I just ashed on my dashboard. But damn emergency management people calling me to let me know that my house is under a tornado warning or watch or some bullshit. I hope I have a home to go home to. But anyway, yeah. So the middle takes it down. So I'm gonna give this a 6. I'm gonna give the Sunrise a 6 for strength. In terms of a score, that component at the end is what's gonna drag this down for me. There's something at the end that's just not quite hitting the way I would like it to. Up until now, this was a really solid cigar. And even with that at the end, it's not anything bad to where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to smoke this anymore. But it's also not quite hitting as nicely as the first 2/3 did. So taking that into account, I'm going to give the H. Upmann AJ Fernandez Sunrise an 88. I think I still 100% would smoke this in the morning with a coffee. And perhaps that's the thing. Maybe if I had a nice like latte to something creamy to balance this out, maybe that could be what this cigar is missing in the final third. Maybe that would balance out whatever this final flavor component is, so that I could enjoy it more. So this might be one I have to revisit with a coffee. But I will say that all in all, it was good. The end kind of lost me. But still a solid smoke. If you're a Connecticut smoker that's looking for something a little on the stronger side, you want to have a Connecticut that it is a Connecticut that knows somebody. The middle, it kind of forgets that person for a minute, but it definitely picks up at the end. So if you're looking for a Connecticut that's got some strength and some body to it, the Sunrise is a good option for that. It's a new cigar, so it's also one that maybe over time the blend gets a little bit more settled into place and they figure it out. So I'd say if you're looking for a good breakfast cigar, and you're a medium to full bodied smoker and you're looking for a good breakfast cigar, I would give this a try. And if you're a Connecticut smoker that's looking to try and amp up your game a little bit, get into the medium kind of strength territory, I would also recommend giving this a try. I would just say maybe make sure you're pairing it with a drink that can counterbalance some of the component at the end. It's kind of a bitter component, so it might be the wrapper that's giving me a little bit of a thing. So that would be my only recommendation, is consider having like a latte would be good because you get that milk in the coffee that would add that kind of creaminess to it and get that back, and add a little sweetness maybe as well. So that would be, I think that would actually, the more I think about it, that's the answer. I think if I had a nice creamy, like a vanilla latte to go along with this at the end here, I think that would pair amazing. I think it would take away whatever component I'm not digging at the end, and I think it would add what this cigar is lacking. So, yeah, I would say that the Sunrise is an 88. Pair it with a latte. Guys, this has been another Drive Time Review. I'm Nick. You can check out my Drive Time reviews every Wednesday on YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok. They go live Wednesday at 7 a.m. Central Time. And then make sure you check out the Cigar Pulpit podcast, available where podcasts are found every Tuesday and Friday. Again, I'm Nick. This has been a Drive Time Review. Stay safe and stay smoky.